Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Afterlife Chronicles and Beyond on this fabulous Thursday, July 29th. Oh my gosh, Halloween's almost here. I can't wait. 2 more months. Yay! Anyways, I'm your host, Nicole Strickland, right? I mean, duh, it's not like an alien's doing my show, right? Maybe so. Anyways, I'm in a giddy mood tonight. But anyways, you're watching on WLTKDB.com. And of course, the good news is that these shows now, WLTKDB shows, are all broadcasting simultaneously on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, as well as on the site as well. So that's fabulous. StreamYard is wonderful. So thanks for those who are tuning in. Hello, Russ. Nice to see you. So before I introduce tonight's guest, I've had her on my show before, so I'm really delighted to have her. I thought that I would share this interesting story. So it really has nothing to do with tonight's episode per se, but I thought it was interesting. So in San Diego right now, being that it's summer and it's really hot out, it's rattlesnake season. So I live in an area called Tierra Santa, which is pretty much central San Diego. It's a hilly sort of area, lots of canyons, areas like that. So I was actually running the other day just in my neighborhood, and I happened to see on the side of the curb this baby rattlesnake. And there was actually a car parked right on the curb. So if someone would get in that car on the passenger side, they obviously could risk the chance of getting bitten. So I decided to go to the house right near where that car was parked. I just had a hunch that that's probably who lived there. So I knocked on the door and this nice gentleman answered. I said, "I'm so sorry. I don't mean to bother you, but is that your car out there?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, I was just running by and I noticed that there's a baby rattlesnake in the curb or next to the curb. I'm like, "Do you want to come see?" And he's like, "What, a rattlesnake?" He came out and looked, and lo and behold, yeah, baby rattlesnake. So I don't know exactly what he did with it. I think it looked like it was dead, but sometimes, they play dead. So we weren't sure. So I'm pretty sure he moved it and brought it to the nearby canyon. But I was thinking, because I stood there for a while, I said, should I let them know or should I just keep running? And I thought to myself, if this were me and the tables were turned, I would want someone to know. So, maybe it's a little possible that I helped prevent an injury or even someone from dying from that. So it was pretty scary. So I thought I'd share that. I know it has nothing to do with the show, but it's kind of one of those weird stories. So let's bring in tonight's guest. I'm so honored to have her back again. Kristina Bloom, a spiritual advisor and a psychic medium, the author of now 2 books, and we're going to discuss that. So Kristina, nice to see you. How are you?
I am fabulous. It's nice to see you again, too. I've been looking forward to this.
I know. I'm trying to remember. When was it? Was it back in January or February when we last
I think so.
did a show? I don't remember it's been a while.
It's been a long time.
And you've been busy.
I have.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Indeed, yes.
Oh my gosh. And then
so have you.
You have, well, I try, it's nice to have like downtime and all of that. But I just heard that you have a brand new radio show coming out on the WLTKDB network. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yes. It happened like an hour ago. So it's like, yeah.
Oh, really?
Really new. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Oh, congratulations. We're so happy to have you. So you come on, I believe, in September, right?
September, yeah.
September. Do you know what date yet, or you're still working that out?
No, we don't have a date yet. We don't even have a title for the show yet. There are some options floating around that, just haven't quite decided yet which one I want to go with or which one.
Yeah, I know. It takes a while. It takes a while.
Yeah. And I'd rather
take
the time and do it right than to rush in and, mess something up or not do it as well as I'd like to. So we talked about that earlier today.
Exactly.
If you're going to do it right,
Oh my gosh. Exactly. I sometimes like put way too much pressure on myself, it's weird like that. But I remember I made a list of just all kinds of possible names. And then as the days went on, that list narrowed, and then I decided, okay, let's go with the Afterlife Chronicles. So I think it'll come.
Yeah,
it'll just one day you'll say to yourself, yep, that's the title. So
it will.
yeah. So
You
congratulations
know,
on that. And
thank you. I am really excited. I know when you because you've
absolutely.
been through
So
this, you have to propose what your show is going to be about. And I just rambled on to like several different categories. I'm like, well, maybe we should talk about this. It's just so much.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It is. I know. And then I remember writing like the synopsis of my show, and I'm even thinking now, I'm like, maybe I should like rethink it and rewrite it. I don't know, whatever. But no, it's great news. I mean, it's going to be a fantastic addition to the family. So welcome aboard. But your new book is out, and the cover is amazing. So let's start off with that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your new book, because it's absolutely beautiful.
Here is my new book, The Wisdom for the Age of Ascension. And it is 58 individual like meditation points. So 158, sorry. So like each page has its own, there we go, like meditation thing. So it's a book that you wouldn't necessarily sit down and read cover to cover, but some people pick it up every day and just randomly open to a page, to whatever page they feel drawn to, that the message will get to them today. So it's like that.
That's fantastic.
Yep, I'm going to do a little bit of bragging. The handsome young man on the cover is my son.
This is your show.
And the photo was taken by the art director for the publishing company that I'm co-owner of. So, I got my fingers in a lot of pies right now. And of course, I just couldn't resist, and I added one more pie to the
there you go. Why not? Pie's good.
Pie
is good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I forgot to mention at the beginning of the go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show too, that you are gracious enough to be offering a free book giveaway. So we'll do that at the end of the show to one lucky winner. That's fantastic. So go right ahead. I totally interrupted you, but
that's okay. I interrupted you. The book came about, it's actually kind of a rewrite of another book I did years and years and years ago. But a lot more added to it. I kind of doubled the size of it. And it's when I meditate, I sit down with a notepad, and when I'm done meditating, I take notes, or I automatic write while I'm meditating. And that's what all of these are. That's what every single page is.
So what would you say, what audience is it specifically geared to, or is it pretty much geared to all ages, anyone who may find some healing with it?
Right. I would say teenage and older.
Okay.
There's a lot. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from women who are around my age, in their 50s, who have read it and just went, oh, this brings me so much peace. Would you like an example of what it is?
Let's do that. Let's give a couple of examples that way, because I was looking at it earlier on Amazon, and there's just a lot of valuable information. So let's give a couple of examples of it, whatever you want.
Pick a number between 2 and 158.
2 and 158. Oh my gosh. Let's do any number. Let's do 151.
151. All right. So page 151. As above, so below, as without, so within. When I expand my consciousness to all of existence, physical and etheric, my desires are amplified to all of existence. The expansiveness of my spirit knows no boundaries. The essence of my highest being reaches everywhere. I am one. There is no separation from divine wisdom, nor from divine practical action in the mundane world. All is one. Divine wisdom and earthly action are one within me. I am grateful.
Wow. Oh my goodness. And it seems now I almost get why you asked me to pick a number, because what I'm gleaning is that whatever number you pick, that writing is going to correlate to that. So it's almost like there's some, I guess, synchronicity with that. Would that make sense?
Yes.
That's, oh my, so how long did it take you to write this? I mean, because writing this, it had to have come, naturally, and I would imagine at certain times.
Right. Well, it's a collection of over years. In fact, when I was putting it all together, there's very little that I actually wrote recently that went in it, because I just have notebooks everywhere with little things that I've written down. And I was instructed by my spirit guides to put it in first person, so that, say, when you're reading it to yourself, and you're making I statements. So you're bringing it into yourself. I just went through all these different notebooks and compiled writings that I'd already done. And I added a few new ones, but I'm still doing the writing. And this got written in and amongst other books that I've been writing, that I'm still writing. The other one that I published last year, the Intuitive You book that I published last year, which I also have sitting on the desk in front of me. So it took I'm going to say it took a long time to write, but it wasn't necessarily because I intended to write a book.
Right. That makes sense. It's like it all just fell in place in due time, right, and when it was supposed to. So amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Let's do another. I'm just curious. Let's do another example. So I'm going to pick, do you mind if let's say, or let's do maybe like, 48, for example. I don't know why I'm thinking 48.
Well, because you probably need to hear what's on 48.
That's right. I'm sure I do.
Okay. Oh, this is a good one. All right. Absorb this one in, Nicole. Absorb this one in.
I will try.
I am God's divine light on earth. Whoever and whatever surrounds me is illuminated by the light of divinity. Divine wisdom flows through me as I stand centered and balanced in the spirit of my Creator. Love, the divine source of power in the universe, is my essence, blessing all who come into contact with me. I am a channel through which all good things flow from spirit into matter. In this way, I create abundance in all things. I am grateful to be a channel for divine love.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. Very intense and very beautiful.
Yeah.
It almost goes to show, and it's a reminder that all of us, the collective consciousness aspect, we are all one. Our soul's purpose, getting in touch with our true essence and our soul, or getting in touch with our soul's contract, all of that. And so this book almost allows you to explore that more and get more in touch of who you are and what your purpose is, which is wonderful. We definitely need more of that, especially nowadays with all the challenges. I know Sherry said that she would love to read it. And she said that her 25-year-old son has introduced her to meditation as well. So I can't wait to get my hands on this and have it on my bookshelf as well. So congratulations. Very lucky to who gets the book later on, which we'll do later on in the show. But you also wrote too, I wanted to ask you about the contemplative truth, right? Channeled messages of the divine collective Bartholomew.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that and what that's about, and maybe how that, I guess, ties in with all of your books.
Okay, well, that one I wrote in 2008, and this is actually almost like volume 2 of that book. Yeah. And some of what was in that book got transferred to this book as well. But that was way back when I first started channeling. And I did not intend to start channeling. It just happened. And,
it just happened.
It just happened. Yeah. It was during a women's abundance group meeting, thank goodness, in my own home, because there was no way I could have driven after that experience. But I was trying to get a point across, and I wasn't explaining it just right. And I could feel, some spirit like right here going, come on, just let me talk. And I just kept resisting. And all of a sudden it just took over. And 45 minutes later, I opened my eyes to a room full of women going with their mouths hanging open. I had no idea what had happened, but they were kind enough to take notes so that I could at least get some clue as to what happened. And that was the beginning of my channeling career, was that. And I knew that the name was Bartholomew because someone had the presence of mind to ask who's talking.
Okay.
And it was Bartholomew. So that was the first book that Bartholomew and I wrote together. And
that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And so
I'm wondering,
pieces from that.
So it flows on into the next book, which is amazing.
Right.
I'm wondering, you just started channeling at that point in your life. Do you have any inclination as why then, as opposed to maybe earlier or later? Was there something significant maybe going on that just made you or allowed you to be more in tune to channeling at that point, do you think?
I think it was frustration on the part of spirit because I wasn't getting the point across and they were getting frustrated with me. And it was really interesting at that time because I could feel it like tapping me on the shoulder going, come on, and I was saying what I thought I was hearing. It wasn't working. So I think that's why it wasn't so much about me, but it was about the message that the other ladies in the room needed to hear.
That makes sense. I'm wondering, for someone that I guess has, well, let's put it this way, that has channeled, but really doesn't know that he or she is channeling. What are some of your recommendations to allow someone to actually know, oh my goodness, I'm actually channeling right now, as opposed to it being something else? I guess it's different for everyone, I would think.
It is kind of different for everyone. It kind of happens in a way where most people, I was unconscious during that particular channeling, where I don't have any recollection of what happened. That's not how it works for me anymore. I had to put my foot down and go, you can't just take over my body, kick me out and not let me know what's happening. That's not okay. So, I had to negotiate with the universe and come up with a contract. So while I'm channeling now, I'm aware of it. I just don't remember a lot of it afterwards. I don't know why necessarily. And I've heard other people who channel say the same thing. One of the things that can clue you into that you're channeling is that something really amazing is coming out of your mouth. And in the back of your head, you're going, I have no idea where this is coming from, but it's just coming out. Like something is channeling through and bringing it through. That can also happen after you've downloaded information too. Where do you
that makes sense? Yeah.
Where it just, when you need the information, when somebody else needs the information, then it comes through. Usually.
That makes sense. Absolutely. But if you're channeling and something comes through that almost sounds or seems foreign to you, and it's almost like, it's hard to really put in words, but I guess it's almost like an all-knowing. You just know that this is coming from someone else as opposed to your own.
Right.
So, you can channel all kinds of different energies. And I know you work with light beings and angels and of course, the spirits of loved ones. What are some of the similarities and differences when you channel? Let's say you're working with a light being, and then let's say you channel maybe the spirit of a loved one. Do they come in differently in different ways for you, or is it pretty much similar across the board, if that makes sense?
I'm going to say with the higher energy beings, the higher light beings, it is definitely a different energy. It's I don't like the words higher and lower because that's kind of a judgment thing, but it is a much more intense frequency. And it takes me longer to kind of get back in my body, kind of, I guess.
Right.
Usually when I'm channeling
makes sense.
Well, and usually when I'm channeling a loved one, it's with mediumship. So I'm listening to them and I'm translating as opposed to them entering my body. Except when I do seances, then I allow them to come through. But usually that takes a lot of energy. It can take a lot of energy to
the
channel,
different frequencies.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into a little bit.
Mediumship.
And we're going to get into a little bit more of that. We have to take a quick break. So you are listening to that. No, that's fine. You are listening to the Afterlife Chronicles and Beyond on the WLTKDB network. Stay tuned.
Paranormal evidence. We scour the internet searching for true paranormal captures, information, and education. New methods mixed with old methods of capturing this mysterious phenomenon. Well, look no further for your ghostly voices than ghostly-voices.com. Nicole Tito and Lisa Crick take you on a journey into their paranormal world and provide you with true EVP and ITC audio captures, compelling information on debunking, some hilarious bloopers, and more. Remember, these two are veterans in the field and know how to capture the true evidence you are looking for. Ghostly-voices.com, your paranormal stop for true audio evidence. Ghostly-voices.com. A book of mystery, a book of one man's journey, a book of the afterlife, a book you must read. Ghost and Me by 5-time award-winning author Kevin Killen is a book of one man's journey in the search of the afterlife. Read of his chilling childhood experience, his investigative journeys, and his opinions of paranormal activity. Ghost and Me by Kevin Killen, an Ozark Mountain publication. Get your copy today online or wherever books are sold.
Minutes past the hour, you are tuning in to the Afterlife Chronicles and Beyond. I'm your host, Nicole Strickland, on the WLTKDB network, WLTKDB.com. Tonight's guest is Kristina Bloom. I'm happy to have her back, psychic medium, spiritual advisor, and author of several books, including her latest, Wisdom for the Age of Ascension, which she is gracious enough to be giving a free book giveaway later on in the show. And we've been talking about her books before the break and a little bit about spiritual channeling. So let's get back into that. And I kind of wanted to take a little bit of a back step. So for someone that is interested in channeling or is channeling before that, I think it's obviously very important to be grounded, emotionally and physically and spiritually. So what are some techniques that you recommend for people of all ages, I guess, to ground so they are kind of at a homeostasis, spiritually, emotionally, and physically before actually working with spirit?
Right. Well, there's some very practical things people can do. First of all, hydrate.
Yeah. I mean, common sense, right?
Right.
Like, right now. Hello.
Hydrate. Eat. Some people, I don't know. I used to do the whole vegetarian high vibration all the time. And then in 2012, I was instructed to channel every week for a year.
Wow.
And I just couldn't. I mean, I couldn't live in that kind of high vibration and function in my own life. There has to be some grounding, like you said. So I would say, even if you eat just a handful of pecans or walnuts or whatever before you channel. Get some protein in you, because that will help you to ground. On the more spiritual level, I have a meditation that I do where I grow roots from the bottoms of my feet down into the earth. And, sometimes I'll go all the way to the core, and sometimes I'll go deep enough to wrap around rocks, crystals, whatever, to ground into the earth, and then connect my energy up through my crown chakra up to the universe, and get those, get the energy coming from both directions. That usually seems to ground me and balance me pretty well, because you do want to be balanced. You don't want to be so grounded that you can't actually channel. You know what I mean? Like, you can get too grounded too. It has to be balanced.
A happy medium. So yeah, that makes sense. I actually do something very similar with, feelings very similar to yours, where, and it works for me, where I just feel, I imagine like the crown chakra opening, and I kind of imagine like a pure white light coming down and like flooding my entire body, and then going out through like the roots of my feet until my entire body's flooded. And it works for me. And I think a lot of it is visualization. There's all kinds of different meditational techniques, but it's so important, and I think so often overlooked. And you teach meditation, right, in some of your classes?
I do. I teach meditation in a lot of my classes, actually. And there's a meditation that I do with a lot of my students. It's actually free on my website, if you want me to give that information.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever you offer different types of meditations on your website. Maybe discuss some of those. And I guess what are certain types of meditations that you offer better for certain individuals? Do you recommend certain ones for certain individuals, or does it?
I think it's more, well, for certain individuals, yes, because there are some people who, no matter how hard they try, visualization just doesn't work for them. So for those people, we would go into, are you hearing, are you feeling, so there's different things. You're feeling warm, you're feeling heavy, whatever it is, which almost sounds like hypnosis, which is very close to guided meditation anyway. But there's there are 6 guided meditations on my website. If you go to KristinaBloom.com/store, they're all for free, but we have a store link. So all the meditations on there for free. There's one for full moon. There's one for the midday sun. I'm trying to remember. There's one that's similar to what I do when I ground for doing readings or channeling or whatever. And I don't remember what the other 2 are. Oh, meeting with spirit guides.
It's okay.
I haven't looked at it.
That happens to me all the time. Hi, Linda. Nice to see you. Hi, Kevin, too. Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, meeting your spirit guides. And I think it's speaking with the sages, where you're guided into a space where you can sit and talk to whomever it is that you want to talk to. Christ or Buddha or whomever.
That's amazing. And I think it's gracious too that you offer them too for free, because I think I know for myself, I need to practice meditation more, and I know that when I do, I feel a lot better. Mm-hmm. So I guess this is an individual thing, but I'm wondering if there's a minimum and a maximum time that should be allotted for meditation, or is it, in your opinion, maybe it's independent based on the person?
I think it's an independent thing based on the person. It's also an independent thing based on the day, because you feel different. You feel different on different days. So maybe a different meditation would work better for you on one day than it would on another. And the other thing is that I have had so many people over the years tell me they can't meditate because they expect themselves to sit in the lotus position for 3 hours and not move. And I'm like, that's distracting. How could you possibly, if you're not a yogi, you're not going to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? So right. I'm fortunate enough to live by the Great Lakes. So, there's a lot of walking trails and parks and whatever. I tell people go for a walk. As long as you are present in the moment, You are meditating. And
That,
I think
that's
we make it too complicated.
that the misconceptions of meditation. A lot of people think that you have to sit there for however many minutes and just not move. And I think that in a way turns people off, and that's not true. And then I've also heard too that I guess this could be obviously a misconception that if you're meditating, you have to absolutely shut off the mind. Is that true? Or can, I mean, because how can someone shut off the mind? Oh, for me, that's impossible to do. At least for my mind.
I think in my entire 20-year career doing this, I've managed to do that maybe a handful of times. I mean, it's like, that is the whole idea. Let go of the monkey mind, just be in the flow. Most of us are not going to get there on a daily basis. Let's be honest. I think the trick is, and there are some visualizations or some ideas that can go along with this, but I think the trick is to not grab onto the thoughts and start obsessing on them, or to get angry because you can't shut it off, because that'll just shut down your meditation. Just let them float by.
Exactly.
Just let the thoughts float by.
Makes sense. I mean, a lot of it's, and sometimes that's my problem too, is I have a tendency to, when these thoughts come, I'll ruminate over and over and over and perseverate. And I have to tell myself, almost like having a rubber band around your wrist, stop. It's okay. Think the thought that comes through and then let it go. And sometimes it's hard to do that.
Well,
really, especially, I mean, nowadays.
Yeah. And the more upset you get with yourself, the less successful you're going to be at it. So there's no point in stressing yourself out over meditation, because that has the absolute opposite effect of what meditation is supposed to do for you.
Right, exactly. And even Linda Myers just asked about, and you elaborated on this a little bit, but she said, what about walking meditation? So in your opinion, I guess maybe there's different techniques because everyone meditates in different ways, but is there a certain strategy that you have for walking meditation versus maybe, doing meditation in a stationary like position?
Well, first of all, there's different types of walking meditations. There's very formal types of walking meditations. I've done that where I've gone to meditation groups and we've all walked slowly in a circle, one small step at a time. And for some people that works. And for some people, they fall over, like they can't even keep their balance, literally just lose their balance. For some people, just walking through the woods or walking along a beach or whatever, and it takes you into a place where you're peaceful and in that Zen place, then you've accomplished what you set out to do, unless you're doing the type of meditation like I do when I write the books, where I'm just like, okay, tell me what I need to know and let the messages come through, rather than just clearing your mind, because there's so many different kinds of meditations. Meditations for kids are great, because if you can teach a 7-year-old to just breathe and count their breath, amazing stuff, but most adults can't even count their breath because they don't think about it,
Exactly.
We're shallow breathers. We don't think about the breath work and how to take a deep breath and counting it, and then not just breathing in counting, but breathing out counting.
Right.
And
the breathing, exactly. And I've done exercises like that, and they're so helpful.
They are. Then how come I don't remember to do them every day?
I know. And it should just, I mean, the time of day is important, but it's almost like when you get up in the morning, even if it's like a minute, I think that's another misconception, is that you have to spend a long time doing it, and you really don't. I think just even a couple of minutes here and there can help, and being out in nature, some people gravitate maybe toward the beach, or some people like myself. I mean, I live 10 minutes from a beach. It's beautiful, but I also like the woodlands, and in San Diego, we don't have much of that. So being out in nature with the running streams and all of that in the ocean, I think can be extremely, extremely helpful. So
I agree.
Oh yeah, she said, yeah, exactly. Love the four count breath. Absolutely.
Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yes, I've heard of that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've actually done the 6 too, but that works better. I just know when I do it, and if I'm stressed, and even this past week, I've been a little on the anxious side, and just even taking a couple of minutes where I just concentrate on my breathing, gosh, it just helps so much. I just need, like you said, need to remember to do it every day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can I bring up another form of meditation that can be really helpful for people?
Yes, it's important.
You know, most of us shower every day or at least every other day, right? So when you're done with your shower, just stand under it for a minute. And as the water's washing over you, just visualize light washing through you and filling you with love, light, peace, wisdom, whatever it is that you feel that you need for the day. Just call that in as it's flowing through you and washing all the gunk down the drain. You know,
excellent. I love that.
One.
And with water too, because water can be very healing. So to do that with water is amazing. Yeah, excellent. And then the visualization of the drain, that's just so ideal.
Yes.
Fantastic. These are fantastic. So let's move a little bit into, for those that may not quite understand it, spiritual ascension and what that is, because of course there's many stages to it in different types. So talk a little bit about that. And of course, do you teach some of that or elaborate obviously on that in your classes?
It depends on the class, which class we're doing. Right. But for the most part, yeah, it just feeds right into it. The ascension is basically what this whole planet is going through. I mean, if you think COVID-19 was about a virus, no. No, it was about ascension.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. It was about getting people to stop and getting people to take a deep breath and to focus on what was really important in their lives and to shift the way that we do things, because there's so many systems that have needed to be changed. The education, mental health, the health system in general.
Yes.
The financial system that we're using. And believe me, this isn't over because we have collectively not learned all the lessons. So it's going to keep coming up in different ways. But if you think about it, and you have a planet with 8 or 9 billion people on it, and you are some sort of universal deity, or what is the word I'm thinking of, group that's running this planet, right? And you have to get everybody's attention at once. What's a good way to do that?
Right.
Pandemic.
Absolutely. Yep. You bet. That's, it's funny because I wrote an actual blog about this too, where it's like, I feel that it's more, the pandemic is symbolizing us, I guess, growing and evolving. I can't agree more.
Yeah.
And that actually leads me into my next question of, with I think the more challenges that are going on, on planet Earth and all of the issues that we're having, it's synonymous to almost that cosmic shift that wants us to grow and learn. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So,
I mean, in general, what do you think when I say spirit world, I mean, even other realms as well, but what do you think the main message is that these realms are trying to relate to us right now? Like what you just said, but
yeah,
right.
We need to shift priorities. There's no reason that people can't work from home and be just as productive.
Right.
There's no reason that people can't be kinder to each other. There's no reason that we have to be so angry all the time, and I'm not saying it's been solved by any means. I'm on Facebook. I know it's not solved. You can see it.
I know. Yeah.
The vaxxers and the anti-vaxxers. And it's like, why are we drawing these lines? These lines don't need to be drawn. And we haven't learned that yet. And we need to learn that. We need to learn it quickly. We're burning up our planet at an outrageous speed. We need to stop doing that And the planet had a little bit of a chance to recover when we locked down worldwide. You know,
Absolutely.
we need to honor that. We need to be able to do that. And it seems like, you know, that we're tired of the pandemic, so it must be over, right? And we're all getting back to normal, whatever the hell that is. And normal's killing us. Normal's killing the planet.
It really is. And I beg the question of, do we really deserve Earth? I don't think we do, not until we learn. And, there's always going to be the ego there, but until people can learn, I think, to recognize, and separate their ego from, a more genuine and humble side, then I think there's going to be a problem. Some people can do that. Some people can awaken to that and say, oh my, and look at things from a bigger picture. But for those that can't, and they're stuck in this rut, and they're stuck in a complacent mode, it's, what's going to happen, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line. I mean, I don't know if you've had any thoughts on that, but where do you see us as humanity going down the road? Because this is an important discussion.
It is a very important discussion, and it's a discussion that needs to take place without fighting. This is our planet we're talking about, and this is our world. This is our home that we're talking about. This is where we all live, and yeah, it's a very important discussion. I am seeing different sides of different things, right? So I am seeing that there is a greater push for renewable resources, to use solar, to use wind, to use what's already being provided by nature without having to dig into the earth and destroy nature. That's going to take some transition, because not everyone can afford to go out and buy an electric car right now. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's going to take time to do that. And then what do you do with the batteries? Because the batteries are toxic too. So then, it's a matter of creating better technology and better batteries, and so that we're not saving it on one hand and destroying it on the other, because it's still not working right. But we're getting there. People are working on it. I'm seeing more people biking, camping, running. Our poor national parks are just taking a beating.
Gosh.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
It's so sad. And I think too, a lot of, the people that are interested in the paranormal, whether this could be a subconscious thing for many people, and I think it is, the interest in metaphysics and, meditation and spiritual communication and working with crystals and all of that. I think that's almost like maybe in some ways both, or conscious too as well, but almost we know subconsciously that we need to work at getting to where we need to go. Right. And so I find it interesting that there's more and more of an interest in metaphysical studies and spiritual awakening and all of that nowadays. I mean, you have to think outside the box. There's definitely a parallel there.
There definitely is. Yeah. And I am encouraged that, I'll go to a coffee shop, or even just walking through a store, like a big box store, and listening to other people's conversations. And they're talking about metaphysics, and they're talking about spirituality openly, where 20 years ago, that was taboo, right? We were shoved in a corner and going, yeah, you just take your woo-woo stuff over there, and we don't want to hear about it. And now it's, it's widely talked about. It's, it's just people walking around on the street talking to each other about it, and people having spiritual awakenings who maybe don't even want to have spiritual awakenings. And they're like, what is wrong with me? My spouse wants to watch these movies that we used to watch together, and I just can't do it anymore. I can't watch the violence anymore. I can't, I've lost interest in sports, that kind of stuff. And a lot of that is happening. And the pandemic didn't last long enough for it to happen really well.
Right. So, maybe something else is going to come along down the way to, kind of, I guess, piggyback on the pandemic. But, spiritual awakening, there's a misconception in that. And I think it's all, it's all tulips and roses, but you may go through some of the unwanted side effects of that as well.
Oh yeah, it's
You know,
digging
like
deep.
exactly. What is it? Anxiety and physical issues, insomnia, sleep disturbances. Have you found and let's get into a little bit more of the different types of classes because you offer many. But
Right.
have you found that in some of your classes where people actually will openly talk about some of the unwanted side effects of
Oh,
awakening spiritually?
yeah. Well, when the pandemic started, I started a Facebook group that met every week. We haven't met every week for a while now because we just haven't needed to as much. But it's called Ascension Zoom group or something. Zoom support, Ascension support, where we talk about all the symptoms
Oh,
that come up. And it is a Facebook group, and I still post in it. We haven't had a meeting in a while, but the meetings are all free on Zoom when we do have them. I just
oh,
my
fantastic.
fingers in pies, I'm just I haven't been able to. I don't have enough room left to be able to do it, and that's great. I'm loving that, but I keep offering people to, somebody can step up and take over. That'd be great. But we
Right?
did.
I know. Give yourself a break.
Yeah, we did have this group going on Zoom, and again, I'm still posting in the group, a few times a week. But it's to talk about the symptoms, and there are a lot of physical symptoms that go along with it. People with more stomach issues and more digestive issues and more aches and pains, and more people being diagnosed with autoimmune disorders and all the stuff,
Yes.
because our bodies, this is the hardest part to explain, but our bodies are having trouble catching up with how quickly our spirits are ascending, right? And this whole ascension process isn't like the what's it called? The rapture. It's not like the rapture. It's not like you reach a certain point and you just leave your body behind and float off into space. That's not what it is. It's about bringing the
Right.
spiritual and the physical together and making it work better. And I think it's really difficult that
Yes.
people don't understand that. You know what I mean? It's like, if people understood, it's really about living your spirituality in your daily life. I think that we would be getting there faster if more people understood
That
that.
makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. And it's interesting how, all these diagnoses, you go to, your physician, or maybe if you have a therapist or a psychiatrist, and, they label you as having this or that, you have this particular disease, but it makes me wonder, out of the percentage of people that do have a health issue or a mental issue or several, how many of those symptoms are actually part of the ascension process, as opposed
Right.
to someone just has IBS, or
Right.
someone just has, supraventricular tachycardia, for example. It's almost like you have to think outside the box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
definitely. And I'm not ever going to tell someone, if you think you're sick, if you think there's something wrong, please, by all means, seek medical attention.
oh yes,
But
absolutely.
I've had many people over I'm going to say probably the past 10 years at least, coming to me and say, we've run all the tests. We've done everything. Everything is coming back normal, and I still feel like crap. It's got to be spiritual. It's got to be energetic. And a lot of it is because the spirit's growing, the body needs to catch up. And the body's slower because it's solidified energy as opposed to free-flowing energy.
Yeah, very well said on that. Very, very well said on that. And I think traditional medicine some doesn't understand that all the way. Some doctors are embrace more of the metaphysical side than others, but I think that traditional medicine and metaphysics and all that should almost, if they could blend, I think it would be a lot better.
More and more hospitals are actually allowing Reiki programs now.
That is very true.
Yeah, especially surgical hospitals where, or surgical departments where they have people come in and volunteers, unfortunately, for the people who are, it's great that they're volunteering, but, in a volunteer basis, people can come in and do Reiki on people who have who've just had surgery, and they're finding out that people are healing faster. Duh. Sorry, but
makes sense. I mean, even for the chronic pain sufferers too, you know, all of that is going to be so helpful.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking at the time here.
Okay.
I have about 10 minutes left. Let's, Kevin Mackey just said, yeah, for Reiki. Yeah, it definitely has. I mean, I know when I've had it, it's given me a lot of benefit. So there's a lot to be said for that. So on your website, KristinaBloom.com. So let's say someone wants to go there and learn about or get an idea of your classes. So in addition to meditation, what other types of classes do you offer specifically in your Intuitive You program?
Okay, well, the Intuitive You program is kind of a separate thing. It's like my flagship program.
Okay.
To take Intuitive You level 1 is 1 to 2 days, full days, because so this book is level 1.
I love it. That's an amazing cover.
Thank you. Actually, one of my previous students does art readings, and she did this art reading for me, and I loved it. So I got her permission to be able to use it for my book cover. So
that's fantastic. I love that Intuitive You. Like, that's just, I love it. It's so catchy.
Right. And it starts out very basic. You know, we talk about the clairs. We talk about different ways that we experience incoming information and how to sort it out, and, you know, answering the question, am I crazy? How do I know if I'm making it up? We answer all those questions in level 1, and we learn how to manage our own energy, to hold in our energy, to spread out our energy, to connect and disconnect from other people's energy, because most of us don't even know how entwined we are in the world around us, you know? So that's where level 1, and then we play with toys. We just play with, you know, tarot cards and pendulums and drums, and, you know, we play with the toys in level 1. So that's available on my website. I'll probably have one coming up, I don't know, maybe in September, doing a class, and I'll be doing it on Zoom, so anyone can participate. The other classes that I have, I do classes on past and other lives. Learning how to access those, how to access our other lives, and find out some things about that. I actually have one of those coming up in August, and I have an Akashic Records class coming up in August, where we intentionally go into our own Akashic Records to find out, you know, how are we doing? We set up some goals for this life. That's where the information is. How are we doing? How are each of us doing individually, and what can we do to help move forward from that? I also teach, it's a whole list. If you go to KristinaBloom.com/services and scroll down, there's a list of about 20 classes. And one of the classes that I teach is for other practitioners, other holistic or metaphysical practitioners. It's a business class. How to promote yourself, how to keep track of your taxes, how to, you know, I mean, the practical stuff that people like us lose track of because we just don't like doing it. I'll just be honest, we don't like doing it.
Yeah.
But, you know,
we don't
know.
No, I know, right? Nope.
Yeah.
That you're so talented, and it's so amazing, all the information you offer, and you're integrating everyday life aspects into these classes, which I think is so important.
Absolutely important.
And then your new publishing company.
Yeah,
you have a brand new publishing company too. Let's touch on that a little bit before the show ends. That's a fabulous accomplishment.
Yeah, it's been in the works for a long time. Moonbow Publications and Productions LLC. So, and I do have a partner in that, because boy, for one person to do all of that would be too much. So I have a business partner, and we contract with editors. We have an art director who can help you create your book cover art if you need it. So I pulled a really, really good team together, and I'm very grateful that all of these people have come into my life because they are amazing. But we started in November, putting it together, getting all the paperwork done, doing all of that. And then we launched in November, but we actually didn't start getting authors until about January or February. And we have 2 authors coming up for publication in the next month or so. So very, very excited about that. And
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And so if someone wants to publish with your company, what types of topics are you seeking?
Basically anything spiritual or metaphysical that is not religiously based, and that's any religion. We don't want to get into the religious debate. So we have spiritual fiction coming out. We do children's books. We have in fact, one of the books that's coming out is a children's book. It's a Halloween themed kind of book. That's kind of fun. And
wonderful.
Yep. We have a book coming out on dealing with grief. We have a book coming out. It's a story of a rescue dog.
Important.
Yeah. I lost you, Nicole.
Oh, wow. I can't wait till those come out. And so, are you there?
I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I'm here.
I don't know. She might have. Are you there?
I'm here.
Kristina?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Yeah. Gotta love the internet, right? You can hear me now, right? I feel like that Verizon guy. Can you hear me now? Good. Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
So gotta love the internet. My gosh. So Moonbow Public. So what is the title again? Moonbow
Publications and Productions. Yeah.
Moonbow Publications and Productions. And what's the website link for that? For those that want to visit it.
moonbowpublications.com.
Okay, so Moonbow Publications, so MOONBOW publications.com. So there you have it. So let's do a book giveaway. So let's do this. So
awesome.
I'm hearing myself echo. That's weird. I can't stand when that happens, but I'll pretend that I don't hear it, even though I do. So we just talked a little bit about your classes. So I guess the first person that can maybe just describe, maybe in a few words, one of the classes that you teach gets a copy of your brand new book with your son on the cover, which is amazing. So Wisdom for the Age of Ascension. So, and what I can do, so the winner, whoever that may be, I can collect your address and then send it along to you, and then you can send them a copy. Copy. So very gracious of you to do a book giveaway. Very nice of you to do that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, it looks like we do have a winner here. Look, Sherry won it. Yay! Okay, yay, Sherry. She said intuitive use psychic and Sherry Lafoon Boswell. That's amazing. So she's gonna love it. So perfect. So I'll get her address and then of course send that along to you. This hour has flown by. There's so much. I mean, I have notes on here where we could have gone off in different directions and we didn't. So of course I'd love to have you back on one day in the future, but it's been a pleasure having you on for part 2. You're a very talented, genuine person that is really offering a lot to the world. So keep up what you're doing, and thank you so much. And again, your website is KristinaBloom.com.
Yes. So
Kristina with a K. So KristinaBloom.com, and then MoonbowPublications.com.
Yes.
Thank you again for coming on. I can't wait to have you back on in the future. And then, of course, your new show debuts in September. So we look forward to that.
And you can be on my show.
So anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to, right? We can the tables can be turned. That'll be awesome. So lots of great things in the works, guys. So this hour has flown by. Next week, we have Lon Strickler of Phantoms and Monsters. So that'll be an interesting interview as well. I do want to thank tonight's guest, Kristina Bloom, a spiritual advisor, psychic medium, Kristina with the K, KristinaBloom.com, her publishing company, MoonbowPublications.com, Her brand new book, Wisdom for the Age of Ascension, Channeled Messages from Universal Intelligence, is out now. It's been a pleasure having her. And as always, I like to end with, here at the Afterlife Chronicles, we're bridging the gap between mortality and the afterlife, one experience at a time. Good night, guys. See you next week.